Hi, Brian here. Welcome to my 28 Days Later music production course, where I will be teaching you everything you need to know to become a music producer, from creating entire songs to how to create your own brand and your business plan. On my last video, I showed you an introduction into Ableton. On this video, I'll show you how to choose the right melody to start working on your song. This is the 5th out of 28 videos in this course, so if you haven't checked the other ones yet, make sure to check them out just so we are on the same page. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Okay, so we finished our last video by loading a drum loop sample, and this time we are gonna add a melody. But before moving on, just make sure that you selected the Cobra full drum loop number 9, so we use the same sound. Okay, so next thing I want to do here is just go to the melodics folder. We go to the melody loops and let's select the loop 26. Since we have changed the BPM to 150 and this is 160, it's gonna sound different than the preview. Like for example, this one sounds kind of fast, but when we load it into our audio track, it's gonna sound like this. You see, that's because whatever sounds you load into Ableton, they will be adjusted to the BPM that we have on our master BPM. So don't worry about that. As long as there's not a difference of more like 10 or 15 BPM, you should be good. Any more than that, and the loop might sound a little bit weird. Okay, so before we move on, I just want to show you how to organize your tracks. The first thing I want to do here is rename the track. You're gonna right click and it will show you the menu and then go for rename. Let's do that again. Okay, and we are gonna call this drums. Okay, the second thing what we're gonna do is change the color of the track. Okay, so right now it's purple. I want to change it to brown because to me it reminds me the color of drums. Whatever color that you choose is fine. It's extremely subjective, so don't worry about that. And we're gonna change the color of the clip as well. I'm gonna do the same for the melody, but I want to add a little piece of information here. If we go back to our loop folder, we are gonna see that it shows us the BPM and it says A min. This stands for A minor, that is the key for this melody. I'm gonna talk more about keys in the future, but for now, all you need to know is that if you have one sound that is on one key, in this case of A minor, all the other sounds have to be on the same key. Otherwise, you might get a horrible song, okay? So let's go and change the name here. We are gonna first include A minor just so we know that this is the key of the loop, and then we are gonna rename it melody. Okay, now we want to start creating our bass line. So we are gonna load a MIDI instrument called Simpler. What this allows us to do is to drop a sample in here and we can play it as if it was an instrument. Okay, so let's go back to our sample library folder and let's go to the folder 808s. So this is what we are gonna use for the bassline. The kind of bassline that you use will depend on the genre. Since we are creating a hip hop beat, the most common bassline that you will find is the 808. So let's go with the 808 number 3. And we are gonna drag this into our Simpler, and now we have a new bass instrument. Okay, now you see that this sample is in the key of C. This is called sharp, and we have our melody on the key of A. So we are gonna need to do something that's called transposition. That is basically to change the melody from one key to another key. I'll explain in more detail in the future, but for now, let's just go here to one shot, and where it says transposition, we are gonna do -4, okay? This sample is gonna be on the key of A. And next thing, let's just rename this. Let's do all capitals just for consistency's sake, and we are gonna color it orange. For some reason, I like to do orange for the bassline. For now, we can delete this MIDI track. It's not really doing much here. Okay, next thing I wanna do is to create a clip. So what's a clip? Is these little pieces of music that we have here. To create your own clip, you can double click on an empty slot, and then you will have a new clip, and you can also just right click, insert MIDI clip. Either way is fine. And once you create a clip, you will have this view that is like watching inside the clip. Probably the main feature of a clip is the piano roll. You see here, it resembles a piano. And the cool thing about this piano roll here is that when you hover over the notes, it will tell you what note you are on right now. So since we are on the key of A, then let's double click on an empty slot here, and then it will draw a note for us, you see? Okay, let's just double click here, and now we have 4 different notes. And to start playing the clip, you just go to the play button and... Okay, and now we have our bassline. Of course, I don't want to keep this bassline because it sounds like crap, but it will show you how to create the notes here. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is convert the drums to MIDI information so we can follow the same pattern on the kick with the bassline. That way, every time that you have a kick, you will have also an 808, which is a really normal way of having the low end on a hip hop song. To do this, we are gonna right click on the audio loop, and we are gonna select convert drums to new MIDI track. Okay, let's do this again. And now we are gonna double click on the MIDI clip, and we are gonna see all these MIDI notes in here. The only thing that we need is the kick. So let's just delete this one, and let's move this MIDI clip into our bassline channel. Let's change the color, and we can just delete this new MIDI track. Okay, so now we have the rhythm for our bassline the same way that we have for our kick. Next step, we have to place the MIDI notes on the right note here. Right now we are on C1. Our bassline should be on A3. So let's select everything, and then we are gonna press the up arrow, and let's just move it to A3. Okay, and this should be the right note. One more thing before we continue, let's go back into our MIDI instrument. You do double click here. If you want to go back into the MIDI clip, then you just double click into the MIDI clip. Okay, let's go back to our MIDI instrument here, the sampler, and the transposition. Instead of doing -4, let's just change it to -1. Okay, I made a mistake by selecting -4. Okay, so now when we play everything, it should sound something like this. Okay, cool. Now we have our drums, we have our bass line, and we have our melody. Next step will be to add an extra melody just to make the song more complex. But this will be all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.